I'm really excited for today's video, selfishly, because we are torn between these two pre-wash products. So we've used both of them quite extensively. We're actually on our second bottle of the Primus, still on the first bottle of the Touchless. But what these are alkaline foam pre-washers. And the reason why we're so excited to do this test and why it is so important is this vehicle behind me. So this is a Range Rover that has been driven around for about a month without a wash. And what you can see here, particularly in winter conditions, you build up all of this dirt and all of this grime on the lower rocker areas. And what you want to do, especially if your vehicle is corrected and protected, is you want to eliminate incurring scratching when you've got some of this deeper dirt on here. So how can you do that? Well, you can use a product like Primus 2.0 from Labocosmetica, or like Bilt Hamber Touchless, and foam the car down, pre-treat it. The whole objective of this is to loosen up and remove as much of this dirt as we can before we actually enter a contact wash stage and then have the potential to introduce any type of micro marring to the paint. Now, the beauty of these products here is that they both perform fantastic. We've used this one by itself, this one by itself, and the reason we're putting these head to head today is we're unsure about, should we have this one, should we have this one, or is there the necessity to have both of these on our shelf? Now, they work a little bit differently. So Touchless is all based on a panel impact ratio, and what that means is essentially how much of this product is touching the paint versus the water mixture that you're diluting it with. Whereas Primus 2.0 is a little bit more simple. It is just a standard dilution, whether it's in a foaming sprayer, normal spray bottle, or your foam cannon. So you've got to do a little bit more math to work out your touchless dilutions, and we do have a video on that. So if you're wanting to know how to work out your dilutions, check that video on the channel. The way that we're going to do this test today is we are going to break up little sections of this car, and we are going to use it in two different ways. We've made up both of these products at the strongest dilution, so at a 1 to 5 for Primus, and at a 2% panel impact ratio in just traditional sprayer bottle, so like a Solo or an IK, and we're going to test that on some of the panels as a pre-treat to the pre-treat, and then what we're going to do is use them in a foam cannon. We've got this again made up at that highest 2% panel impact ratio. We've got the Primus set up at 1 to 5, and we're going to foam them on and just have a look at, without touching the car, what type of results we can get. I'm particularly interested to see how well it does at breaking down some of this dirt here. And I'm really excited to get to the end of the test and do some product ordering, whether it's a gallon of this, gallon of this. I have a feeling it could be 2 gallons. I think both of these might find a way to enter our detailing setup.
So just to add a little bit more information about why we're creating such a high dilution to start with, is that we want to have a fair baseline. So if we use the products at their strongest dilution to start with, and use them in their most aggressive form, that creates a very clean baseline. Okay, so that's why we're going to do a pre-treat first at the highest dilution, put it on the product, and then we're going to foam over again with the highest dilution. We want to see what these products can do side by side equally and work out which one's going to clean the surface the greatest or the best to start with. We understand that these pre-treats and these type of high alkaline products as a pre-wash touchless based product is not going to clean the surface perfectly to start with, but it's going to get us a long way there to having a clean surface before we come in and do our contact wash.
And then as we're working on vehicles, we can make a determination based on the dirt that you're seeing on there and the condition of the overall vehicle as to, do we hit it with the highest impact ratio or the highest dilution, or do we go a little bit softer? If it's one of our own vehicles that we're washing on a very regular basis, yeah, maybe we go at a lighter dilution. But when you end up with a vehicle that looks like this, you probably do have the need to look at one of those higher dilutions.
So in this spray bottle and in this foam cannon, we have the Labocosmetica Primus 2.0, and we're going to pre-treat this side. I'll go with the Solo sprayer on that side, which has got the Bilt Hamber spray on that side, then we'll foam down. We're in a bit of an issue with our foam cannons at the moment. We're in the process of rebuilding them. So Glenn's got one foam cannon head, but no on that one, so we have to swap it over. If I just do to that line, that will be pretty consistent.
Yeah, just the lower areas. You don't really need to focus too much attention on those higher areas. And then this will just start to hopefully break some of this down. And then Glenn's doing the exact same on this side. using the Bilt Hamber product.
And now I'm just going to foam over the top, and we're going to let this dwell.
So we go, so we've got the Primus foam down on the right hand side of the car here. Then just switching over to the Touchless.
Now you want to be really careful about doing this in direct sunlight, especially at the higher dilution ratios, because you can cause some damage to your plastic trim, etc. So we are in direct sunlight on this side, so we will be a little bit careful about that. So you probably just want to be cautious about your dwell times.
And then what we're going to do here now is just let this dwell, not for a long period of time. We're probably going to let it dwell for maybe 2-3 minutes maximum. It's actually great. The sun has just gone behind the clouds, so we're out of direct sunlight for a bit. We are using deionized water, but it's not the water that is going to cause the issue here. It's the high alkalinity of the soap. And what you'll find is some of these areas here, depending on what type of trim you've got, if you're working in direct sunlight and you leave this for too long, it can cause damage to those areas of the car. So fantastic that that sun's disappeared a little bit. Glenn's getting all set up to rinse here. And we're just letting this product, or both of these products, do their thing and start to break down some of the dirt on the surface.
So we've let this dwell for a comfortable amount of time. There is quite a bit of overspray on the roof, so I want to try and get this off. We could probably leave this side for a little bit longer for a dwell time. So this has been on the vehicle, I would say
2 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes, plus we had the pre-treat time as well. So that's just something for you guys to gauge.
So we're just going to do another little test on the back of the car here. You can see we've got a lot of dirt, a lot of grime. So we're just going to hit half and half again at the back here and just see how it can go on cleaning up this type of dirt that we've got.
Especially on this side, we could probably let this dwell a little bit longer because we can control the small section of the car a little bit longer, and we'll just see what that sort of generates. So on this side of the car, we're going to put Labocosmetica, and on the other side, we're going to do Bilt Hamber, and we'll just exactly the same, bit of pre-treat, and then we'll rinse off. Well, sorry, we'll do a pre-treat, foam, let it dwell, then we'll rinse it off. And we've got some results already on a couple of those doors, so Glenn and I are just talking about that. But
yeah, we're just waiting for them to dry completely as well, because I think it's easy to show when those panels are dry.
We're pretty much out of all of that.
Alright, let me put our touchless on this side.
Okay, so this has had 5 minutes of dwell time, so we've probably pushed this a little bit further than what I would want to sort of recommend, but you can start to see it starting to streak a little bit. We've lost all the soap on there, but we just wanted to really push this to the limit so that we get maximum dwell time to see what kind of rinse off and cleaning of power we have. Okay, so we've let this sort of dry a little bit. We did sort of dry the vehicle down with the blower because everything looks way cleaner when it's wet. And so you let it dry, then that actually shows you the true result. So you can see here, this is the side of the car that had the Labocosmetica put on it. And we have done some little finger test swipes down here because just as Glenn and I were discussing about what's going on here. So at the bottom down here, I don't really care about because no soap is going to remove this sort of stuff. This needs manual agitation. But what I would like to see is that usually in the middle part of the door, or middle to lower part of the door, is where we get lots of traffic film here in New Zealand. A lot of dirt, grime, grease, oil on the road. What happens is when it rains, it loosens all that stuff and you get all this wash onto the side of the vehicle, and that's creating that traffic film. Traffic film then sits on the surface, it bakes in because this car hasn't been washed for about a month or so, and that is a real problem here for us, is the traffic film. And so I would like to see these soaps start to break down that traffic film, loosen it up, because that's the hardest part to clean. Trying to get that stuff off is really hard, especially on a white vehicle. It's a bit of a nightmare. So I can see here already it hasn't really done, you know, it hasn't really removed any of the traffic film, but maybe it started to loosen a little bit. So what I have here is a clean white microfiber, and we're just going to swipe along the panel and show you the dirt that's still on the vehicle. Now, I mean, this car is a new car to the fleet, so we sold the old Range Rover, got a new one. This one hasn't been paint corrected. This has got some junk coating on it, but so perfect test dummy because we haven't spent hours correcting it. So I'm just going to swipe along the middle part of the door here. And there you can see some dirt.
And we're on the other side of the car here. We've done that same kind of finger test there, and we've got some very similar results.
So there's the dirt from the other side.
Yep.
Here's the clean side, and I'm just going to swipe across exactly like I did before. So this side has got the Bilt Hamber on it. This side here has got the Labocosmetica on it.
You could probably fold that out now and show both.
So,
and as you can see,
to put it on the right sides for you guys. So this side here is Labocosmetica because of the handprint. That side there is Bilt Hamber.
Pretty equal.
I'd say so. That's pretty hard to determine.
And this is the tough thing. So we've been walking around this car trying to make a determination around which product has performed better. And if we bring you around the back of the car here, where we did the most recent section. So again, we had this area here. You can see we've got the finger swipe in the middle. But if we kind of go over here, and over here as well, again, we're seeing very, very similar results in what we're seeing. Now, one of the things that we need to consider here as well is it's not all about removing this dirt. This was a very dirty car, so we're not necessarily going to remove everything, but this is about loosening up.
There's Labocosmetica, and this is white, and this is Bilt Hamber.
Bilt Hamber, flip that over, Labocosmetica. So what we were hopeful for in this test is one of these products was going to perform considerably better than the other, and I think what we found is we're finding similar results with both products.
Yeah, you'd be very hard to tease out which ones perform better on here. Now, I mean, dwell time is a factor, temperature is a factor, the type of dirt and grime that's on the vehicle, are you ceramic coated, are you not? All those types of things are going to impact the type of results that you're going to get if you were to use one of these products over the other. But here we have our test subject. We've done the best we can to try and use these products as equally. I understand that the 2% impact ratio means that we truly do get 2% of the product on there. I understand that when we dilute 1 to 5 in the foam cannon, that maybe the Labocosmetica is going to have a slightly weaker dilution in the foam, but we've done the best we can to try and create an equal result here. And I think by doing that, we've now got an equal result in the amount of cleaning power that both these products have done. These have both performed relatively equal. I think it would be very hard for you to pick one over the other. In our experience, we've gone along and we've tried a lot of other high alkaline or high pH soaps, and we've deemed these two to clean the best. So if you want to go and see what others perform like, go and check that other video out. We did a big test of that, but I think these have performed pretty equally. Okay, so there you are. We've shown you the results of both of these products side by side to the best of our ability. And I think which one performed the best out of these two soaps? None of them. I think they both perform just as equally as each other, so you cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong by picking this over this or the other way. Now, I understand that these soaps are high pH. You need to treat them with caution, and they aren't going to clean the car as best as you think it will, especially with tough traffic film and the lower rockers and stuff like that. You're not going to be able to spray this product on, let it sit, let it dwell, rinse off, and boom, your car's very clean. You are going to have to do a bit of manual agitation, and you are going to have to do your normal contact wash with your wash media and to remove some of that dirt and grime. But what I do see these products doing is they start to break down the traffic film that is on the surface. They start to remove or lift that off the surface a little bit easier, so that when we come into our contact wash, we're not having to scrub so hard to remove that traffic film, and both of these did that pretty equally. So pick one of these. I don't think you can go wrong, but just bear in mind that you're not going to be able to spray these on and have a clean car and walk away, job done. You are going to have to put a little bit of effort in. Now, this is where the caveat happens between both of these products. With Bilt Hamber, you have to work out an impact ratio, panel impact ratio. Now, we use 2% here, but I know Pete sort of recommends using something slightly lighter for your everyday use. So you might want to use 0.5 or 1%. There is a bit of a, not necessarily a complicated mathematical equation that you've got to work out, but you've got to put a little bit of, you've got to use your brain a little bit to work out your panel impact ratio. You've got to fill it up in the foam cannon, let that run, work out how much output your foam cannon's got with your pressure washer, and then from that you can work out how much product you're putting in the foam cannon. So we have a video on that. You can go back and check that out and work that out for yourself, or it does explain it here on the back of the bottle or on the Bilt Hamber website. This product cannot be used in the bucket for your contact wash. So, there is no recommendation here for you to put that in your bucket, use with your wash meter, and use as a typical shampoo. So this product is just basically to spray on, let it dwell, and then rinse off, and then you would then use another soap to come in with your bucket wash. So then when we compare that to Labocosmetica, there's a range of dilutions you can do, and it's just your typical dilutions like a 1 to 5, a 1 to 10, a 1 to 20. That's pretty easy to work out. It's the same dilution that you're going to be using in your in your pump sprayer for your pre-treat. It's the same dilution that then you can then use in your foam cannon. But remember that when you put 1 to 5 in the foam cannon water then mixes, and you're going to dilute that further down. So I guess the dilutions that you're going to use with this is going to be slightly less in the foam cannon, whereas we know that the true 2% that we put in the foam cannon is truly the 2% that we're going to get at with the foam cannon. So a little bit different there. This is easier to calculate. This requires a little bit more sort of smartness to be able to work that out. The other thing with the Labocosmetica is that we can also use this in the bucket as well. So you could put, a bucket dilution, you could use this with your wash mitt. And I've spoken to Reggie from Labocosmetica, and this performs just like a normal shampoo in the bucket. So it's got enough slickness and performs perfectly well with your wash meter to then come into your contact wash when you do that. So I guess for this, you can use this as a pre-treat. You can then foam on, let that dwell, rinse it off. You can then put this in the bucket for a really dirty car. You can then use that with your wash media, and you could use this as like a decon shampoo, or you could use this as a really heavy cleaning shampoo for really dirty vehicles. Whereas this is just a spray on, rinse off, and then you're going to have to find another soap to then use in the bucket for your contact wash. So those are the pros and cons between these. Quite a lot to think about there, and definitely a lot that Omni Garage needs to consider when we're going to go ahead and purchase this product, and we're then going to stock that in the shelves, and then we're going to sell to our clients, etc, etc. So there's a lot that we need to think about for using both of these products. So that is it from Omni Garage. I hope that you've really enjoyed this video. There's a lot to think about there. We've given you a lot of information, and we've told you everything we know about both of these products. So please subscribe to the channel. Go back and check out some of those other videos that we've talked about. Stay tuned for the next one, and we'll see you later.